And Johnny, let's close the podcast looking at a topic that we haven't looked at in quite a while.
Well, yeah, a while.
A while.
Well, you also like some whipped cream?
Yeah, you know, some cool whip. Some cool whip. We haven't talked about it in a while. It's Game of Thrones. And I'm actually going to look up on our YouTube page the last time we talked about Game of Thrones to see how long it has been.
Well, quite a while.
The last Game of Thrones that we put up on the channel was 5 months ago. 5 months ago, we talked about the pregnancy storyline between Daenerys and Jon Snow. We also talked about the Clegane Bowl 10 months ago with that whole theory. Yeah. What we're looking at today, though, is Arya, because we are closer to Game of Thrones Season 8. We're not really that close, but we're closer than we were 5 months ago.
Exactly.
And the big thing that has people all stir up is basically Maisie Williams put out a tweet, well, not a tweet, an Instagram post that basically she showed a picture of some white gym shoes that were kind of bloody. And in the post, she talked about, oh, you know, goodbye Belfast, goodbye Game of Thrones. And the big thing that was the key is in the hashtag she put last woman standing. And on that, Cersei, or the actress that plays Cersei, commented and put Queen with a crown emoji, the pray hand emojis. And here's the question I'm going to have for you. This is what we will start off with. Is Arya going to be the last woman standing at the end of Game of Thrones? What do you think is going to be her arc through this season? And what happens to end Game of Thrones when it comes down to Arya Stark?
See, that's an interesting question. I'm actually not 100% sure. It is a loaded question because really, last woman standing. So you're telling me Sansa, Daenerys, who else? Cersei. Were you missing anyone in particular? Because Gilly's not really going to be included in that.
You can count Melisandre, maybe.
You could. Well, she's supposed to die anyway. She's
supposed to die. You have Brienne of Tarth.
Ooh, Brienne of Tarth. That's true. You're telling me all of those characters are going to die?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Melisandre is supposed to.
She's supposed to.
Cersei. It has been foreseen in the prophecy.
And so technically is Cersei, I believe.
Cersei has to die.
She has to, but not to mention she has also a prediction from her childhood put on her. I believe she's supposed to die in that one.
The only one that I think is the question is Daenerys.
Yeah, that's the one I'm really questioning.
That's the only one, because to me, how I think it's going to go down, Cersei's going to die. Melisandre is going to die. Brienne of Tarth is dead. She is going to die in some battle and be dead off the series. Sansa, I'm going to predict she's dead episode 3, episode 4. She is going to die early in Game of Thrones because there's going to need to be something that sparks the Stark clan.
True.
The whole question is, when it comes to the Iron Throne, is it going to be Jon or Daenerys that is on that Iron Throne?
I'm going to put my money on Jon. He's the one rightful heir. They've been pushing towards it the whole time.
Or do they write Daenerys as it because she's pregnant? And it's like, oh, well, Jon died. I am carrying his son. They could do that. And it ends with the, I am Daenerys on the Iron Throne. I am having Jon Snow's baby to continue our
Jon Targaryen.
Jon Targaryen. To basically, I am having his child, and he may be dead, but he will always live on through his child, and our kind of bloodline will move on with me as the queen of King's Landing. Well, King's Landing where the throne is at, but me of the kingdoms. I am the queen with Jon Snow's baby.
Good question. I mean, it's a good question. I don't know if that's how they're going to play it out. It could be, but that would not be her last woman standing then, now would it? I mean, with the gym shoes and there were a few questions that went along with that. I know on the page, I can't remember what they were exactly.
Basically, why is she wearing gym shoes?
Yeah. Honestly, it could just be sort of a staged photo as a representation.
Well, like I've heard people say, could be she was filming something that was waist up, so she wouldn't need to wear them, or it was I was wearing appropriate boots and stuff, but then I took them off and put these on and splattered them. So they looked cool for the picture. Like something like that.
To look cool for the picture, that'd be one thing, yeah.
The whole thing, the whole thing when she says last woman standing, does she mean in general or does she mean last Stark woman standing? Like there's no there's no being specific with that of she might not mean like last woman in general. It could just be I am the last Stark woman standing.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's a little bit of a not as much of a stretch because it's her and Sansa.
Yeah, that's all
the only
left.
Women for the Stark clan that are left.
Yeah, the only other one thing that it could mean is, hey, she's the last female that need to do her filming. Mm-hmm. I think that was another one that was brought up in the for that. She could be like, hey, I'm the last one that needed to have filming done.
And that's another thing I heard, which what they could do right before you give your mind blown thing. When they do their reshoots, because apparently, yes, people are done filming. Like Sansa is done filming her scenes.
Yeah.
What they may do is to kind of have a secrecy of like the final scene and stuff, and not really know, like for us, not to really know like who's in that final scene. When they call people back for reshoots, they might just say, "Hey, we're calling everyone back for reshoots." And then that's where they film the final scene. Yeah. With whoever's left alive, just to kind of throw us off the trail, because some people are like, oh, Sansa, she's been done for 2 weeks. How is she already done? But now Arya is not done here. So it's kind of like, and obviously they're not recording everything in chronological order. They're kind of mixing things up.
Not to mention they also don't film, they film extra film time.
Exactly.
So here's the one thing I thought of. What if it's the last woman standing? What if it's like a standoff between her and someone?
Between her and Cersei?
Maybe.
Or between her and Daenerys? I don't know. Well,
I think it would be her and Cersei, if anything.
Well, because here's the thing. Here's the question. We know she wants to kill Cersei. She was heading to King's Landing. Was told, hey, Jon Snow's back in Winterfell. He took it, and she did a 180 and was like, I'm going back to Winterfell. I'm not going to King's Landing anymore. I got to go see Jon because they're back in Winterfell. The whole question for me with Season 8 and Arya, she's already wants to kill Cersei. I think she's going to end up killing Cersei. But 2, is she going to want to kill Daenerys at one point?
I don't feel like she's going to want to kill Daenerys because they're allies and she has nothing against Daenerys.
But if Daenerys does something, because here's the thing with Daenerys. If she feels Jon is encroaching on her throne, will she do something to basically backstab Jon, which doesn't sit well with Arya? Because Arya is enamored with Jon.
I know. I don't think she's...
Not like enamored of like, I want to be your wife, but just the... whole
I would hope not.
He was the Stark. Well, they're not related technically.
True,
well,
they are, but aren't. They're cousins.
The thing is, she always looked up to him.
Oh, she did.
Like, and he
bought her needle.
Exactly.
Or had made her.
Yeah, exactly. And that I wonder if there will be a point in the season where she will be like, I'm going to kill Daenerys, and if she does kill Daenerys, and that's how Daenerys dies if she dies.
What if So hear me on this. That's why my face went into shock. I hadn't thought this. So there's the battle with the Night King. That's all done.
That'll probably be early because he's
first coming. 3 episodes.
Yeah.
What if that happens, and then right after that you have the battle with King's Landing, where Arya goes like she helps with the battle in a normal sense, where she's good with a sword, but then it goes back to the her training. Okay, you know what? Everyone's in the heat of the battle. I'm not going to be good in a large battle fight like this again. Goes in, kills Cersei.
I would love that. I would. The thing I want to see because the whole thing that we've talked about this before, it's the whole, what is it? The prophecy of the Valonqar, or the Valonqar in general, of basically everyone thinks that it's going to be Jaime that kills
the little brother,
Cersei. But there are people that are like, no, in the Game of Thrones language of like how things are, Valonqar could mean little brother, but it could also mean little sister, which technically Arya is a little sister in the sense. So for me, how I would love to see it is basically Jaime walks in to kill Cersei. Jaime stabs Cersei, not in the back, just straight in the front, kills her. And as Cersei's dying, she's like, Jaime, how could you? How could you do this? And then we just get the pull. And Arya pulls off Jaime's face, and it's like, holy shit, it was Arya.
Last on my list.
Exactly, last on my list. And boom, that's how her list ends. Like, that to me would fit both of them, where it's like, technically Jaime killed you, but it was Arya as Jaime that killed you.
Exactly.
That's what I want to see. Because the whole thing with Arya, too, is in the season, are we going to see her go back to the many-face god and the many-face tactics that she was using?
I think she's going to. I don't think she's going to be farewell. Like, I don't, not to say that she's not going to fare well enough of like a full-on combat fight like John's good at, but I feel like
Battle of the Bastards.
Exactly. John's good at a army tactical fight. Arya's more of a stealth assassin type.
Exactly.
And that's because that's a lot to do with her training, but that's what she's good at. And that's what she needs to overall stick with. Yeah, maybe she'll help with the battle, the battle with the Night King that's going to come up. But I think that's going to be her like one war, and she's going to be not going to be good in another war.
Because here's another thing you and I brought up when we were kind of pitching this around pre-podcast of, is there a chance? Obviously, there's a chance because Jon for sure would not. Maybe he could, but I don't see it. Is there a chance Sansa dies? Either Jon dies or Daenerys dies. Either one of those. Either Jon's dead or Daenerys is dead. Jon's on the Iron Throne. Is there a chance we could see by the end of season 8, Sansa is dead? Bran, to me, it wouldn't matter if he's alive or dead. I'm going to say alive, but he would turn down the I'm not going to be king of Winterfell because I am the three-eyed raven. And we see a chance that Arya is the queen of Winterfell by the end of the series because Sansa's dead, Jon is either on the Iron Throne or dead, and Bran is either dead or doesn't want to be king because of the whole three-eyed raven thing.
I think it's gonna be Bran would be turn it down because he's when he got there before Jon did. Oh, you're the true master of Winterfell.
And he said, no, I don't want it.
I'm three-eyed raven. I'm not gonna do this stuff anymore.
So he wouldn't be the king of Winterfell anyway.
No, he wouldn't technically if they go back to Warden of the North, possibly. I think it would be Arya maybe put into the Warden of the North thing. And then if Jon ends up on the throne, or even if Daenerys ends up on the throne, Jon's dead, Arya could still be Warden of the North.
Yeah. Do you think that's a realistic option we could see?
It is. I think it could be, especially if Sansa does die through this.
Is it because Jon dies or because Daenerys dies and Jon's on the Iron Throne?
Either way, if Jon...
Put your money on one, Johnny. Put your money on one.
I don't want to put my money on one. I don't have enough money to bet.
I ask you, hey, which one will it be? And Johnny goes, well, both of those are great options, and just goes right past it.
Oh yeah,
doesn't want to give me a prediction of what he thinks it'll be.
Oh, absolutely not, because I'm not predicting yet.
Do you think they'll kill Jon?
No, I don't think so.
You think he makes it all the way to the end?
I think he does.
They have to kill either Jon or Daenerys, right?
Both of them.
I don't think both can make it to the end. I think you've got to kill one because if both make it to the end, then there's a conflict between both of them of who's on the Iron Throne.
No, I think she takes a knee to him because she's just his aunt. He's actually the bloodline of her older brother.
I don't. I think Daenerys is not like that. She ain't no bitch. She ain't gonna go down like that. I'm not saying
she ain't no bitch, but what I am saying is he's the rightful heir.
Yeah.
He is the son of her oldest brother. So he is the rightful heir, and when Bran finally lets that out and gets like proof of that in whatever way they need, she's gonna be like almost maybe she'll be at a loss and go, "I've been fighting for this for nothing."
Let me put it this way: either she dies in some horrible way,
or she backstabs him. It would be my other option.
That's where I'm going. Either she dies, or if both her and Jon make it towards the end, and they're both getting closer to the Iron Throne. I would say she would backstab Jon 99.9% before I see her taking.
She's been working so hard for this. I can see her doing that too.
I can't see her just being like, well, this was cool, I'm gonna bend a knee to you. I would see her go, no, you're bending a knee to me, because we had that whole argument during, not me and you, but like her and Jon had that whole argument and that huge big dick contest the last season of like, her name is Daenerys Khaleesi, king or queen of this, breaker of chains, da 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 da, la di da di da da. And then you've got Davos, which is basically like, it's Jon Snow, king of the North, winner of Battle of the Bastards. I don't have much to say.
At first, it's like, this is Jon, king of the North, and go like pauses like, shit, I forgot the rest of them. Because when he finally got into his speech, he like gave him like 18 freaking titles.
But it's like, it was a big dick contest between who's got more titles.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I don't see it being, all right, Jon, here's the Iron Throne for you, just because I have your baby and you boinked me on that boat when we were going to Winterfell. I just the other reason why I think the Jon and Daenerys thing is coming to a head, or will come to a head, is because of the look of worry on Tyrion's face when he realized what they were doing in that bedroom. Because you saw his face on that boat like, this ain't gonna be good. This can't be good for anybody. And I think that's going to be foreshadowing to like, this is going to come to a head and they're going to clash.
I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Final thing I want to ask you.
No.
Final thing is, give me a not hard prediction because we're far away from it.
Yeah.
But right now, how are you feeling? Who dies, who doesn't?
Sansa, yes. Arya survives. Cersei, obviously.
Obviously dies?
Yes.
Okay.
You
said obviously. Well, you just said survive. Like, oh, this person survives. Cersei, obviously. So it's like, so she obviously.
I'm sorry. I think obviously dies.
Okay.
Thought that was just obvious in general. I didn't have to say it. Jaime, I think, would die.
I think so too. I think he dies in battle in Brienne of Tarth's arms.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm gonna map it out. He dies in Brienne of Tarth's arms in battle. She goes battle crazed, kills a whole ton of White Walkers or like whoever they're fighting, kills a bunch of them, but after a while, just bam, one stab in the back. And she's like, oh, and then she dies in kind of like a blaze of glory kind of a thing because she secretly loved Jaime and watched him die in her arms.
Yeah, I could see that being the option. I'm like 50-50 on Brienne of Tarth dying.
I think she does. She's not going to be that important to go all the way to the end.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't always kill off everyone just because you're not important, kill it off. That's not always what they do. It's just
the cruel thing would be to kill Daenerys, but fuck, I'm blanking on his name. You will always be my Khaleesi. He lives. She dies.
Could you imagine? I know this is not going to be the dynamic. This is not going to happen. But like, it's over talked. Like she's talking to someone after like finding out Jon's
Jorah lives. She dies.
Would you imagine if
I love you, Khaleesi?
I know as much as she loves Khaleesi, he also has a conscience and has bonded with Jon a little bit now.
What you're talking about? Daenerys bonding with Jon?
No, the other one, Jorah.
Oh, okay.
Especially going north together. What if he hears like Daenerys finds out Jon's technically supposed to be like the rightful heir of the throne. She's like, okay, you know what? This is what we're gonna do. We're stabbing him in the back. And last minute, like right before she goes to like fall out her plan, Jorah goes, I apologize, my Khaleesi.
And kills Jon?
No.
Or kills her?
Huh. Because he has a conscience still.
Maybe.
Especially bonding with Jon, seeing what kind of leader he is.
I think that...
Jon's for his people. 100%.
If I put my money on it right now, I would say Daenerys dies, Jon lives.
Yeah. Well, could you imagine that being the roundabout for the end of that?
Yeah.
Also bringing back his family's honor?
Exactly.
Fulfilling the job he was supposed to do too.
Exactly. He was supposed to. He was supposed to do it, and it's a long play there. I feel like for me, Brienne of Tarth dies, Jaime dies, Sansa dies, Bran, I'm going to say lives.
Yeah, I'm going to go to live on Bran.
Daenerys dies. Tyrion, we haven't mentioned Tyrion. I don't know if Tyrion dies. I don't know if he dies.
I'm going to go with lives.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't because he's been cheating death his entire life, basically.
Exactly.
I'm going to say Jon lives. So Cersei dies by the blade of Arya with Jaime's face on. Not like Face Off the movie. His face will be on. Tyrion lives, Jon lives, Arya lives, Bran lives. And basically how it'll be is Jon will be on the Iron Throne. Arya will be Warden of the North because there will be no King of the North.
Yeah.
The whole thing is how far, this is the last thing I'll ask before we wrap up the podcast. How far does the Night King get? Because that's the one thing we haven't talked about is those White Walkers. They are through the wall. They are coming.
I think they make it to Winterfell and then...
You think they stop them at Winterfell or do they get all the way to King's Landing and we see an epic battle at King's Landing?
Here's the thing. They're not going to go to King's Landing first. I feel like they would go to...
Well, they would reap through the entire...
North.
Land, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to stop them at Winterfell or basically Winterfell Falls.
True.
It's not going to be, we're just going to pass up Winterfell and go for King's Landing. No, they're going to, like you said, they're going to ravage
everything, yeah.
Everything.
So you think they're stopped at Winterfell and Winterfell doesn't fall?
Winterfell doesn't fall. Maybe even like reinforcements come from Cersei, more so to kill them.
Because isn't the Golden Compass army still coming over?
They're coming too, yeah.
Like she's going to use that Golden Compass army.
Yeah.
And that's a thing of, I wonder if the Night King and his army is going to be an entire season thing because there's only 6 episodes. I could see it being the first 3 episodes are Night King based, whereas the last 3 episodes are all right. We got to turn our attention to Cersei, not Siri, Cersei. And it's basically Night King's the main enemy of the first 3. Cersei and the Jon Snow Daenerys head are the main combatants of 4 through 6. It's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. This is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section. Also want to thank you guys for listening to the podcast today. Housekeeping here at the end. If you want to help support the channel, support Most Valuable Podcast, please check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. If you want to be on a Rick and Johnny podcast, you can join us at the $10 tier. You can join a Rick and Johnny podcast each and every month and talk about what you would like to talk about. Also, make sure to check our store down below in the description. Both you and I slacking today, not wearing the t-shirt. I almost wore it, but I decided to wear my Mighty Ducks Ninja Turtle shirt instead.
I am Groot.
And you just went with the I Am Groot shirt, which is a higher pitched voice Groot because it's Baby Groot.
Well, I can't do that.
I know.
I'm sorry.
You got to do the Vin Diesel adult group.
Sorry. Actually, he does all of them anyways.
He does anyways. Yeah, that's right. But also you can check out the store on mostvaluablepodcast.com where you can also catch MVP each and every day. And then last but not least, if you're on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, make sure to give the Rick and Johnny podcast a 5-star rating and then let us know why you like listening to the podcast, what you like about the podcast each and every week. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.